bring in William Galston now, Brookings Institution Senior Fellow. William, what do you make of this? I mean, it's hard to know what to say because everything seems to be up in the air. They're negotiating all over the place. What do you make of this?
Well, they're negotiating against a deadline, but they haven't reached the deadline, and there's an effort on both sides in the end stages of a difficult negotiation to maximize its own advantages. And I am not at all surprised that Chrystia Freeland did not come out and announce an agreement. I would expect an agreement much later today if it's reached at all.
Do you approve of President Trump playing hardball in these trade negotiations, whether it's with the Europeans, with Mexico, with China or Canada? Because that is the president's position, hardball, and he sticks to it.
There's no question about that. And from my standpoint, the real issue is the goal towards which the president and his team are negotiating. If that goal is good for the world trading system, and certainly the multilateral relationships that are so important to the United States here in North America, then the tactics, I think, will recede into the dustbin of history. But if it turns out that the president and his team are negotiating toward goals that would accurately be described as protectionist, then I think a lot of people, including people in Mr. Trump's own party who've given him a lot of running room, are going to be extremely disappointed.
Do you think that the president, our president, actually wants more trade, or does he want to appeal to his base, which is vigorously anti-China and probably pretty much anti-NAFTA as well?
I don't think he wants to be forced to choose between those two objectives, because the Republican coalition includes not only the people who put him over the top in 2016, but also the traditional base of the Republican Party, which is very much pro-trade, and I might add pro-immigration as well. And he understands that it took the support across that coalition to get him even to 46% of the vote in 2016, and he doesn't want to have to choose between them. And so I think he very much hopes that there will be not just one agreement, but a series of agreements that he can take back to his base in the Midwest of the country, the former manufacturing heartland of the country, and say, see, I did what I said I was going to do, but also show the business community that he didn't sell them out.
In other words, you expect him to come up with some kind of deal. Even if in private the president has to give a little, you think that it's a good idea for him politically to get a deal of some sort?
I absolutely think that it would be in the president's best interest to get a deal, because if he doesn't get a deal, then he can't go back to his manufacturing base and say, what a good deal I've gotten for you. He will have gotten no deal, and it's not clear to me that a trade war is going to be good for any piece of the Republican coalition.
Got it. William Galston, Brookings Institution, thanks for joining us, sir. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.